could spend some time today doing something fun based on that. Now, it was inspired by something that happened on this radio station early this morning. And I want to give a shout to our good friends, Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky. They make up the morning roast. And that's how I start my days. Taking the kids to school, might go for a run. Today, needed to do a smog check and went for a walk while they were taking care of the car.
Nice.
And I'm listening to Bonte and Joe. Okay?
Did you pass? You passed that check?
I did.
Big.
And so did they. I'm like, this is a good show. They've passed. Anyway, I'm listening, and I got to admit a weakness. A phone call comes in. Not to me, to Bonte and Joe. A phone call comes in right here on 95.7 The Game, and we love it when phone calls come on in. So you know what? You can fire away right now, 888-957-957. I'm listening to the call, and I'm just trying to have a morning walk. I'm just trying to get in my zone, man. It's Wednesday. Let's have a good day. And then the caller says what the caller says, and I'm like, I'm starting to get upset. This is my shoulders are getting tight. Now, instead of letting it get me upset, like actually upset.
Yeah, I'm angry, Jeff.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. and so I started thinking, you know what? Maybe we should just, instead of letting other people's opinions like Stephen A. Smith and Draymond Green get each other all feathers ruffled, what if we took a different angle on it today? So we'll play for you in just a second what inspired this. But if you've got any controversial or unpopular Bay Area sports opinion about anything, today's the day. Fire it off. And instead of getting debate or shouted down or anything that normally happens in the world of sports debate, we will open our arms to you and we will just chuckle at your crazy, wild, controversial, unpopular opinion. You can share them right now, 888-957-9570. We have our own, but I want to play for you what inspired this, okay? Shout out to not just the morning roast, but a caller who calls them often, and we have heard him on all of our shows throughout the time here at the game. He is TC in Sacramento. I'm driving over to the lovely Christie's house after the smog check, and I hear this today, and here it is.
Listen, the writing's on the wall. Players are fed up with Kyle, bro. Even McCaffrey. Man, you use me like a workhorse, and then you don't want to give me my money reconstructed. You want to tell people they got to either take this or they got to leave. Like, people are getting tired of Kyle, bro. Joe, Bonte, I try to tell y'all, I try to tell y'all about this dude, bro. Their locker room is fed up. It's only a couple guys maybe in that locker room. Debo may be one of them, and he might be the lone shark, bro. And maybe Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy hasn't seen the truth Kyle yet with him not embracing him. Seriously, bro.
I know, TC. I know you're serious. Seriously, bro. They all hate him.
Yeah, except for maybe Debo and maybe Brock because he hasn't seen it yet. He hasn't seen it yet. And I'm going to add Jawan Jennings to that list because he just signed a new contract today. He got $10.5 million guaranteed. So maybe Jawan is one who's not mad at Kyle.
TC, if you're still listening, my man, we are going to arrive at a place where we just chuckle. I'm not trying to change your opinion. You can have it. You are welcome to it. All opinions are welcome here on Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game. All opinions are welcome here. I'm telling you, bro, they have had it with Kyle Shanahan. Christian McCaffrey is like, stop giving me the ball so much, Kyle.
Right.
I've had it with all of this football stuff that you're trying to make us do. That's enough of that.
Tired of all this winning. I'm tired of all these damn playoff games that I'm playing. I mean, all this January football is bringing me down, Kyle.
It made me laugh because I literally just heard Logan Ryan go on Colin Cowherd's show yesterday, and Colin's doing an interview with him, and he's really asking him to bring us inside the 49ers situation. Like, bring us inside. What's going on there? Sustainability, the guys, the money, the winning, but the losing in the Super Bowl, all this stuff. You want to know what Logan Ryan says about the Niner culture that's been built by this Kyle dude who everybody now hates? This is what Logan said.
Walked in on a Tuesday, typical NFL off day. You might have a handful of players in there on an off day. I mean, some guys get out the building because they're there 6 days a week. Maybe 10 guys there on off day, guys who need treatment, guys who are banged up. I say they probably had 30, 40 guys in the weight room working out, all the stars in there working out. I haven't seen anything like that since a couple of New England years was like that. Brady in there and everyone following suit. So Purdy was in there rolling out. Christian was in there squatting. Bosa. Everybody was in there, and I was going for a tryout. I was coming off the cruise, just trying to try out. And I did well enough. Like, you make the team? I said, I think so. And then like 2 weeks later, I'm starting. But I was in there with them every Tuesday as well. So I was like, man, I remember telling my parents and my wife, I'm like, this team's gonna be a special team.
Okay. That's the Niners culture, courtesy of a Niner.
Yeah, somebody who actually was in the locker room. Yeah.
On their off day, the highly paid bajillionaires with big names show up. They show up. Would that be possible if Kyle Shanahan was so hated and the locker room, I'm sorry, Dibs, they have had it up to here.
Right.
They are fed up with all of this Shanahaning that's going on all over the place. So we're going to laugh it off. I've got a few of my own you're going to hate them takes, and we can do that.
Yeah, I got a couple myself.
I was just like, I don't know. What are we supposed to do with this? I'm telling you, man, they're done with him. They've had it.
They've had it. And, I would like to see what evidence would be there that would make you think that they've, quote, had it, because if you're a football player interested in winning, Kyle Shanahan's provided that, and he's not the only reason why they win, but he's a big part of why they win. And if you want to be a guy who's drafted and kept and paid, well, they've done that with everyone except for DeForest Buckner. And, pro football players want just a couple of things, Mark. They want to get paid and they want to win. Those are the two big ones. And if you're a 49er, you've gotten paid and you've had a chance to win, and you've won almost more than any other team outside of Kansas City over the last 5 years. There haven't been many other franchises who have done as well as the Niners. So I'm still waiting to see what evidence there is about the 49er players not liking Kyle Shanahan. It sounds to me a little bit like the same argument that people make about Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr's a bum, and Steve Kerr hates young players, and Steve Kerr can't coach, and Steve Kerr's the reason why they lost last year, and all the rest of it. And, the players seem to like Steve Kerr, and the Niners seem to like Kyle Shanahan. So I don't know where that take comes from, but people do believe that.
Yeah, great. And by the way, this isn't even a whole, narrative on Kyle Shanahan. If you don't like Kyle, you think he's a choke artist,
right.
Good, fine, that's great. You can think whatever you want.
Can't win the big one, Mark.
But this one, okay, but that we hear. This one was a new one to me. I'm like, oh, they hate him. I'm like, that's interesting, because whether you think Kyle's got the right sauce in terms of play calling or not, the one thing I actually don't think, my opinion, that you can argue with is the culture. I don't think, for me, the evidence, you just detailed a lot of it. I don't know how you could argue with the culture.
Right.
Every single player who has approached free agency that was drafted there wants to stay there. They've all chosen to stay there. Others have chosen to join as well as free agents.
Richard Sherman being one of the more high-profile ones.
Everything we've ever heard is that, from a locker room standpoint, it is as on point of anything that has recently existed in the NFL. I'm not in there. I don't know. But that one got me, because I was like, I have not heard anyone say anything or do anything, because what they say is what they say. But have we seen one act from anyone that suggests, it's really about to burst. This Niner culture and this locker room and this staff, it's really, really hot. The relationship between it and the players is a total mess.
You've heard some players who left be disgruntled about the way they were handled. Jimmy Ward would be one. where, he's gone on to play elsewhere and he's complained about how he was used and maybe not getting the fair shake that he wanted.
Yep.
But that's more the exception than it is the rule. And I think about Jawan Jennings, who just signed today with a new contract. And, he didn't sign his tender, and yet the team made it clear that they wanted to keep him. So they worked on a deal, and he got an extra year on top of it. He's got $10 million guaranteed and 15.4 if he is able to play through both years and earn all his bonuses and all the rest of it. So there's a player who could have been disgruntled, could have gone out, and Debo before never really burned it down, and Brandon Ayuk now waiting for his extension. He's, showing you some indications that he's not thrilled with how the negotiations are going, but nobody's out there blasting away at the coach or the culture or the front office or the teammates. It all seems to be pretty well intact.
Let's have some fun